I believe that religion should be kept in church and community events and things like that, but in schools, absolutely not.
But like I said, that's already in school. You have atheists in school. You have people that go to mass. You have people that's, free to do and say and dress, use whatever restroom.
Right.
They have all that. It's just this one thing that kind of upsets people. Ooh, look at that.
I got a portrait stuff in San Francisco.
Hey y'all, welcome to my show, Trippin in Texas with Talisa Ann. I'm tripping with the hottest comedians, producers, promoters, directors, and entrepreneurs right here in the DFW Metroplex. And today I'm going to be tripping with Dan with the plan. Hey Dan.
Hey Talisa, how you doing?
I'm good.
Great to be here.
It is. I'm happy to have you here. I mean, I know you're a school teacher and stuff like that. So let's start out. Tell me where you're from. Where are you from?
So I'm from the vast empire of Minnesota, northern Minnesota, Duluth area. And when I left a week ago to be here with you in Texas, there was still snow on the ground. Imagine that.
It's Texas heat, it's humidity and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, is it true that everybody is Minnesota nice?
I would say as a general rule, yes. I found very few exceptions, but there are, like in any big population. But in general, we pride ourselves on Minnesota nice.
Okay, fine. So what made you want to become a teacher? You're a school teacher, right?
Yep. I narrowed it down to a school teacher, a dentist, or a mortician. So I decided to go with the teaching because I liked interacting with living people, and I saw a couple bad mouths mentoring with my dentist, and I'm like, no, I think teaching is definitely the way to go. High reward and living people.
Okay, you're a math teacher, right?
So I'm actually a science teacher, okay, but I use math all the time.
Okay.
I always loved trying to figure out how the natural world worked. Mm-hmm. And I especially love biology. So biology was my track from the beginning. And so to look at nature through the eyes of how this complex system works always fascinated me. So I just found joy in figuring these things out.
Okay. I know there's a lot of stuff going on with the schools and stuff. People teach online. You're an international teacher. Mm-hmm. You done been inside the schools. So has that affected your career?
Well, I tell you what, there's, the thing with teaching is you're constantly evolving. Mm-hmm. You're always looking at what tools do I have? What students do I have? And you're having to make adaptations to how you think it's going to go. And if it doesn't go well, fix it on the spot, figure it out for the next class coming in. And so that's part of, for me, what was really fun about teaching is that I got new tools to figure out how to use throughout time. I mean, when I started teaching, I had like the only VCR and TV on a cart on the floor. I was like the privileged one. And I wrote things on a transparency and an overhead projector. And now we have all these digital projectors, and you can project movies and interact with the kids a lot more. So it's fun to invent how to use these new tools most effectively.
So Dan, tell me, what advice did you receive early on in your teaching you realized it was just wrong?
Concerning teaching. Well, basically the advice I got is it should be easy. Just teach the way you were taught. Although I was never really that's kind of the great irony. I was never really inspired by my teachers to be a teacher. If anything, it was to defy them and prove it can be done in a much better way.
Okay, you said you were inspired, but what made you want to do it? It's got to have some inspiration, right?
I think that in general, I maybe had two teachers that were brothers, and they were my calculus and my advanced English teacher. They were both brothers. They were the only really good teachers in my high school, and they were masters of adapting their lessons as it was happening in live time. And so they really showed me it can be fun to teach, because they really truly not just loved their subjects, but they loved how they interacted with the students. Whereas most of the teachers I had were your sit down, shut up, take notes, and don't talk to me. And I did not gel with that very well. I got good grades just because that was the expectation in my house. So you're going to get good grades or else it's going to be bad at home. But it still was not fun, except for those two teachers. So they were really the inspiration. But as far as like even my first teaching job with some of the old teachers who just relegated themselves to one binder for the whole year. Mm-hmm. Day one, doesn't matter what's happening anywhere. Day one's always the same. And I just couldn't ever do that.
Okay. How do you define success for a student?
Okay. So I define success as a student that basically I fuel their love for learning. Mm-hmm. I do not define it by whether they become a scientist at all. To give a quick example, in my very first teaching job up in International Falls, Minnesota, I was basically my school trusted me to teach them biology as I saw biology. So I taught them how to do birding and how to identify birds using bird guides. And to this day, I have students from my very first year from 1995 who still have a bird guide and a pair of binoculars in their house at any given point. So now they've taken what I've given them and used it as a lifelong hobby, something that gives them joy. And honestly, it comes down to if someone can look at nature in a little different way, I've been successful.
Oh, wow. Kudos. So how do you manage the emotional labor in teaching and caring for your students?
Yeah, that is really tricky. The modern student there's a lot of challenges to teaching the modern student. A lot of you get your hopes up for some students, and inevitably sometimes they let you down, and they basically they mess up their own success. And there's sometimes nothing I can do about it. Mm-hmm. I have them in a very short window of the day. Mm-hmm. And my job is to try to inspire them and motivate them and build up their confidence so they can achieve more than they ever could before. But sometimes there are forces that are well beyond my power. And that's hard to accept. But that is really challenging. So you deal with a lot of disappointment, but you have a lot of victories to balance it out. So that's the way I see it.
So how do you keep it fresh though? When you're teaching and stuff like that, people have the same old thing, the same way of doing things. How do you keep it fresh for you won't fall into a rut or something?
Yeah, I think for me, there's the day-to-day fresh, and then there's the longevity, like year to year. Right. So the day-to-day, like my last teaching job, I taught grade 9 all day, the same class for 6 out of 7 periods. And so I had to find a way to mix it up a little bit. So I knew the characters of different classes and how to incorporate my lesson. I basically have the same goals, but how I achieve those can vary slightly. Mm-hmm. So I might start off one class with a story that relates to the subject I'm teaching. So if I was teaching them about astronomy, to talk about, the effort it took to get to the moon for the first time, and it took less computing power than their cell phone. Okay. And just to give them that hook. But other classes, you might start with a hands-on activity, right, related to, whatever we're talking at hand. So I look at mixing it up so that my brain is re-energized every time. And in the bigger scale, I never ever look back at my old lessons. Okay. Ever.
Okay. Well, what is the most challenging moment you had with a student?
The most challenging moment I had is when I had a student who basically trusted me implicitly and basically told me that she was having a really hard time at home. Okay. And on the border of criminal abuse. Right. And she kept saying, you got to keep this a secret. And I'm like, in my profession, there are no secrets. I'm here to get you help.
Right.
And it took quite a while to convince her. Oh, it was really a hard road. And she got the help she needed. It had a really nice ending, but it was really, really tough. And I've had a lot of frustrating students that I want to beat my head on the wall.
Yeah.
Where I always kind of kid that if you have a smart kid who is really works hard not to do anything and not to, I say it's like having a Corvette and keeping it in the garage.
Yeah. Okay.
Like you got to take it out for a spin. So you gotta you gotta show off this Corvette, and if you just are really intelligent and never show it, it doesn't help anyone. Right. It's the Corvette in the garage.
I mean, I always get to hear, okay, the teaching starts at home, and it ends with school, and it starts at school and ends at home. Yep. I mean, everybody has to show up.
Yeah, I agree. And I think too, like midway through my career, there was the big changing point in education in two ways that I feel started making things tough was the first off, the everyone gets a prize. Mm-hmm. Then kids, they could do little to nothing and they get a prize. Mm. And so the value of excelling was diminished a bit. And then also at the same time period, there were many, many parents who wanted to be their kid's best friend.
Right.
And they wanted teachers to parent. And I told them that that's not what we're set up for.
Right.
Parents have their roles, students have their roles, teachers have their roles. We all work together to get it done. But that made it difficult.
Okay. So what was the most rewarding moment with the student?
Probably, I mean, I'll shorten this story up a bit.
Okay.
Because I could go on this one forever.
Okay.
But I had a boy who was extreme special needs. He was actually a victim of shaken baby syndrome.
Okay.
So he was 98% blind and very learning impaired from being shaken too hard as an infant. So anyhow, he would always make his way to my classroom about 5 minutes before his period because he can't navigate the halls with all the people. So he would show up early, and every day I started teaching him one little thing that we're going to have in the future. The first one was, what does DNA stand for? Mm. And so every day I'd be like repetition. And then it finally got to that day where I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope he remembers. And so like, does anyone here know what DNA stands for? And he was the only hand that shot up. And I said to him, do you know what it is? He goes, oh, you're always picking on me. Deoxyribonucleic acid. And they're like, is he right? And I said, yeah. And the whole class just embraced him and high-fived him. And he was on cloud nine. And so I'll never forget that day. And then, so I started doing this for other things that were up and coming. And so he felt like he rarely felt part of the group. And that day he really earned his way into the group. It was really pretty fun to watch.
That's touching.
It was really great.
That's very touching. So what is the difference from you versus, a popular teacher and a respected teacher? Because, me personally growing up in school, you always have those teachers that sit and talk to you and stuff like that. Yep. And then you have the coach.
Yeah, that's true.
So what's the difference between a popular teacher and a respected teacher?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because some people get the respect out of fear, which I'm not that kind of teacher, but there's some you just kind of go, well, they're teaching me well, but I am a little bit afraid of them.
Right. Scared of coach.
But a lot of the most respected teachers are the ones that really show a passion for their subject area, and that they are fair to everyone. And so people, no matter how they feel about you personally, they have like a good, solid respect for you. Right. Now, the popular teachers are not always the respected teachers. I mean, really, a lot of the popular teachers want to be kind of their friend. Mm-hmm. And, it's more about sharing experiences and, helping them out in any way they can, but more like a cheerleader for their learning. And sometimes a popular teacher is an easier grader You know, it's really easy to say, all right, you get an A, you get an A, you get an A.
Right.
Everyone loves you. And I've taken the more the respect with a strong dose of the popular.
Okay.
So I've managed to mix them where really if they're cooperating with me, they're and respectful to everyone, we have a really good time learning.
Okay. I figure if someone has respect for you, they actually like you.
Yeah.
That means you're doing something good. If you're just popular, anybody can like you. That don't necessarily mean you're a good teacher.
Right. And in these days, I found it's a lot harder to get their respect.
Right.
Because so many adults don't kind of demand the respect.
Right.
I had a student who said, "Oh, you got to give respect to get respect." I go, "Yeah, but you know, I'm your elder.
Right.
I'm your teacher. Like that alone should be enough for the respect you give me. And then for the respect I give you, I start off by giving you total respect until you disprove that you don't earn that respect anymore. But I always give everyone the benefit of the doubt with trust, with respect, because if they break my trust, I usually let them know that there's not enough time that we have together where that could get repaired."
Yeah. In school today, they checking for guns, they checking for drugs. You know, it's crazy. It's not the same when I was growing up, or maybe when you was growing up. It's different now. I think teachers don't get paid enough. You know, first thing they want to do is cut. It's so many schools that are closed down. They trying to close down schools. They trying to close down libraries.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. You're not going to have any education.
No, it's really a struggle because the theme of do more with less
Right.
has gone on my whole career. So where I last taught, my class sizes were 35. I taught 180 students.
Oh, wow.
And that's an insane amount of papers to grade, tests to write, of lessons to plan. It's just too much. And then also budgeting. I've been in several schools that will tell me, okay, you have, let's say my 180 students. Well, you have a budget of $200 for the entire year's worth of labs.
Wow.
For 180. I mean, so that is just over like $1.01 for every kid.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of expect you to pick up the slack because you want to do a great job. And that's why, like even the IRS, when you file taxes, they give us a little tax break up to $500. Doesn't mean we get it back. It just never does. But sometimes that's the thing is teachers, they sacrifice and they sacrifice their weekends. So when people make fun of me for getting my summers off, I'm like, you too can have this joyous, easy life and become a teacher. And you can see why, if we did not have summers off, we would burn out and crash. There would be no way that hardly anyone would be a teacher because you need the summer to recover.
Right.
And this is where you get extra classes and such. So yeah, it is tough now. In the last school I was at, we had 28 fire alarms go off. From kids vaping in the bathrooms. And it's not like they don't have cameras in the hallways to see exactly who's leaving.
Right.
But 28, yeah, until they figured out to put it on a silent alarm just to the security office.
Okay.
So they didn't evacuate the whole school after 28.
Okay.
But,
so I'm just curious. I mean, what have kept you with all the struggles and everything that people going through, the times and change, and what keep you, keep wanting to teach and stuff like that? What keep you in this profession?
Yeah, I think it's the few kids that you really do break through with.
Okay.
So if you can break through with a couple kids in a whole year where you might make a significant change in their not just their academics, but in their lives. Like I had one girl who was productive for me last year for 2 days, the whole year, but she started the year by naturally hating me. And then by the last half of the year, they would this student would skip her other classes and show up to my class because she loved being in my room and she felt safe.
Okay.
And she would get involved in the classroom lesson, even though she'd heard it earlier in the day. But when it came down to sitting down and doing her work, yes, that's the bar she did not cross. But as far as her general attitude and her comfort level and her confidence, even though when she did do something, she was very, very bright and did a great job. And
Okay, cool. So what is the biggest misunderstanding of teachers you would like to correct?
what I would like to correct is just because you were a student as an adult, you have no idea what a teacher does. Like a lot of people just think of, oh, I've been in a classroom, I've watched a teacher. Well, there's so much more to teaching than just standing up there and delivering information. There's all the preparation, there's all the grading, there's all the dealing with kids' personal problems, there's all the extra duties you have out in the hallways, in the cafeteria, there's all the committee meetings you have to go to, all the extra education you have to, I mean, that's the whole thing. People generalize because they were a student one day, and therefore and also too, people tend to remember their worst teachers. And then when it comes to passing a referendum to support the schools, then they're like, oh, I can't possibly support my worst teacher getting a pay raise. And it's never with pay raises, but usually it's just facilities, but they seem to remember their worst ones. So that's what I'd like to clear up. There's so much more to teaching.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, at one time in school, I remember we did a walkout. We was protesting for the teachers and stuff like that, you know. I done had a couple back in my day, they used to paddle you if you mess up. They don't do that no more. That's abuse, right?
Well, I don't know. Do they do that in Texas?
In Texas. I'm born and raised in Texas.
Yeah.
They had a permission slip, and they had us take it home to my mom. She said yes or no. If your kid get out of line, do we have the right to discipline them? Yeah. And if you got out of line, she wrote yes, pap, pap, like 3 paps.
Oh, man.
I'm like, for real though? You gonna allow them to do this to me?
Yeah, they allowed that when I was a kid. I had a health teacher in 7th grade. I had forgotten to do some assignment over the weekend, and I got A's and B's in the class, and he just pulled me out in the hall, grabbed me by the shirt and slammed me against the wall and yelled at me for about 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I guess I won't forget another assignment.
Right.
But it was a different time. And actually, I always feared home way more. It's like, oh, I got in trouble at school, Mom. You did what? And so there's usually a bigger consequence of things that really mattered.
Right.
And that's where I think parents don't understand is they carry the cards of things that kids find very important, like their cell phones, their video game time, their friend time. If they can say, well, all right, you did something wrong at school and here's the consequence. But it's becoming harder sell.
Right.
Because the cell phones, that's a whole nother episode.
It is. Well, I'm gonna ask you these questions. I mean, they recently tried to pass, I don't know if it got passed or not, I should have checked before I got here, but, they thinking about requiring the 10 Commandments to be put in schools and stuff like that. So what is your...
I think I definitely support a strong separation of church and state, because I believe a religious person should teach religion. But that would be like me as a biologist saying, oh, by the way, you got to teach creationism. Well, I'm not trained in that, and that's not science. So I teach science. So I do feel that religion, because when you say, oh, here's the 10 Commandments in a public school, well, is every single person Christian? Then you're excluding other religions, because 10 Commandments isn't universal to everyone. I believe that religion should be kept in church and community events and things like that, but in schools, absolutely not, because you can't. We're the land of the freedom of religion, and we cannot possibly represent everyone's religion.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying, but as a Christian myself, I personally feel we ain't gonna get too deep into it. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, because I feel like religion is a dictatorship.
Yep.
But also you have people that leave class and they're able to go to mass and they do all those things. You know, you have atheists walking around the school.
Yep.
They wear and do whatever they want. But when it comes to this particular Christianity, the Ten Commandments, like, no, we can't have that. You know, I'm not here to debate anything. I believe people have a choice in their own opinions. But I don't think that's fair. That's just my opinion.
Well, it's tough, you know, because I often did not like when, you know, the Catholic kids would take off for Wednesday for some youth education, because I felt that was encroaching on having religion in school, even though it was off campus, but they still got to leave school. But I just really, really feel that if people can celebrate their religion, but just not in school, it becomes more of a clique club. And I don't believe it brings people together, even, you know, might bring Christians together.
Yeah.
But if you have a Muslim student or an atheist student or any other variation of religion, it leaves them out. And you just can't have a big enough monument to have everyone's commandments. And yeah.
But I personally, I mean, I know I said I want to go left, right too much. But like I said, that's already in school. You have atheists in school. You have people that go to mass. You have people that's, you know, free to do and say and dress, you know, use whatever restroom they want.
Right.
You know, they have all that. It's just this one thing that kind of upsets people. But I'm going to move on from that question.
All right. No problem. I'm not bending on that. I'm not bending on that.
I mean, of course not. You know, I'm not going to ever bend on man. I'm 10 toes down.
That's fine.
Period. Okay, so what are you working on now?
So right now I'm working on building a cabin. So last summer I built a sauna. I got all my building skills fine-tuned, building my sauna up in the very northern border of Minnesota, so I can look across a body of water and see Canada. So this summer it's building basically a 2-bedroom cabin, and I'd say it'll be about 95% just me. Just me. I've designed. I am having help with the foundation because my neighbor, who is one of my old students, he does foundations for a living. So he'll put that in, and then from there on, it's pretty much just me. And so I have been, you know, God bless YouTube for teaching me a whole lot of building skills that I've never been taught directly, but I have the confidence to get it done. So that's what I'm doing now. And then when that's all built, then I'll probably re-enter some form of work. And it might be with education. It might not be. I like the adventure of not knowing. It's okay.
So what are some hobbies?
Some hobbies?
I mean, I know you go camping, hiking. Okay. You do have hobbies.
I do have hobbies. Besides the building right now, it has to be my main hobby. Yeah, I'm an outdoor adventure guy. I used to do a little more extreme things in my youth, but I've found out in the last couple of years, the mind is willing, but the body is not as willing. You know, I got kind of a bum knee, and that limits me a little. But I used to go rock climbing, and I canoe a lot, and I do go fishing a lot. So I really love the outdoors. That's where where I live is easy access to a lot of beautiful wilderness up in Minnesota.
Okay, so I mean, with everything you've done, you know, I'm gonna get this last question in.
All right.
Move some to curveball.
Okay.
So, what do you want people to take away from your work as a teacher?
So I'd love people to appreciate their teachers more, and I think that. Even, you know, because a lot of kids question, like, oh, when am I ever going to need to know this?
Right.
And I just think no one has written their entire story.
Right.
So why not have the Swiss Army knife of a brain that, okay, like for me, I am in the state of Minnesota. I am licensed just to teach biology. That's it. But to get that license, I had to take 2 years of chemistry, a year of physics, courses in geology, astronomy, meteorology. And sure enough, I thought, well, I'm only licensed to teach biology. But when I taught internationally, I was a science teacher. So they expected me to teach those things.
Oh, wow.
And so it worked out where, all right, I'm already familiar with these. So I had no idea it would help me in the long run. But yeah, so I think just appreciate what your teachers do for your kids, because if anything, the pandemic really proved that socialization with your teachers live is so much more powerful than any online experience.
Okay. Well, I think I might have a couple of, just squeeze in maybe 3 curveball questions.
Well, whatever. Bring it on.
3 curveball questions. You can pull some questions out of here.
Oh, I get to pull them out?
Yeah, this your question. You got to pull it out.
Oh, do I ask you the question then?
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Okay, we're going to do it like this. You can ask me the question. I can ask you the question, okay? You got one, I got one.
Okay. The game you played as a kid and did not like.
Mama and Daddy.
Okay. I think the game I played as a kid I did not like was Monopoly.
Okay.
I liked it more as an adult, but as a kid, it just went on forever.
It did.
It would never end. You'd just be like, all right, I'm just collecting fees for being on my properties, but no one wants to trade anything. And it would just, as young kids, it was just this stalemate. So at some point we just went, all right, we're done.
Okay. So my question for you, do you prefer mosquitoes or flies?
Oh, man. I think any specific type of flies. We got horse flies, deer flies.
Okay.
I would say I'd prefer mosquitoes. They're a bit slower. They're a lot easier to kill. And repellent works really well with them, better than flies.
Okay. Well, I know we're going to have to wrap this up because you have things to do.
Yeah.
Just wait a minute. I just want to thank you for coming,
Well,
showing up and showing out for me.
That's
in
right.
Texas.
That's right.
I don't know. Do you have any social media? Are you on social media?
I'm not. I have like a Facebook account that's more or less just checking with all my international friends what they're doing. But
Right.
but you might convince me to go elsewhere. To add it, because where else would I be tripping in Texas?
Hey, we tripping in Texas. I want you to comment, like, and subscribe. We tripping.
Trippin' in Texas, we trippin', we trippin'.